Hello everyone, welcome to CloudOps Craft. Today we are going to discuss about what is Docker and why DevOps loves it. Let's start with introduction to Docker and the problem it solves. Imagine you are building a web app on your laptop. It works fine, but when your colleague runs it on their machine, it crashes. Different OS, different Python version, and missing packages. That's called it works on my machine problem. Docker solves this by packaging your app dependencies environment into a container. So it works the same anywhere, whether it may be a dev, test, or prod. Like for example, think of Docker is like a shipping container in logical period. No matter what's inside, it fits into any ship or train or truck. Okay. In traditional deployment, I will explain the flow of traditional deployment. First, we will build the app. After that, OS dependencies, and it will work on machine one, but it may fail on machine two. While coming to Docker, here we will pack our application with the record dependencies. Okay, and we will push it into container. So you can run this container everywhere. What is a container? How it is different from a VM? You may have this question, right? A container is a lightweight, isolated Docker, like an isolated environment. Okay, simply if I want to say, container is a lightweight, isolated environment. Unlike VMs, containers does not run a full guest OS. They use the host OS kernel. That means container starts in seconds, consumes less memory. Okay. Well, let's have a difference between VM and Docker container. Okay. First, here we will write a feature VM Docker container. First OS. Okay. Here in VM, we will have full OS, which is guest plus host. But while coming to Docker, it shares host OS, host OS kernel. And while coming to startup time, it will start in minutes. It will start in seconds. Third one is size. It will be in GBs. It will be in MBs. While coming to isolation, it has strong isolation, which is hypervisor. And while coming to Docker, it has process level isolation. Okay, this is the thing. Okay. Next, we will discuss about Docker architecture. Docker has three key components. Okay, first one is Docker engine. First one is Docker engine. Second one is Docker image. Third one is Docker container. Okay, Docker engine has client and client plus daemon. Okay, while coming to Docker image, we can say this as a blueprint for our container. We can say it as a blueprint for a container. Docker container, it is a running instance of the image. Instance of the image. Okay. Now I'll explain the flow. First, you will write a Docker file and you will build an image from the Docker file. Okay. Once image is created, we will run that image. Okay. So that image will run inside the container. So the flow will be, first we have to write the Docker file. Docker file. Once you build it, after writing it, you have to build it using Docker build. Once you build it, you will get an image. Once you run that image using Docker run, it will create the container. Okay. So simply if I want to say Docker file is like a recipe and image is like a prepared dish. And Docker container is a plated meal. Plated meal ready to serve. So this like this you can compare. Okay. So while coming to Docker in DevOps, CI/CD, Docker makes DevOps easier. It works well in CI/CD pipelines, whether it may be a Jenkins or GitHub Actions or GitLab CI. Same container used in development, test, production. It enables microservices and each service on in its own container. Okay, for example, Dev pushes code, Jenkins builds Docker image, and it will be pushed to Docker Hub, and we can deploy to Kubernetes. So the flow will be from Dev to Git push. Git push will trigger Jenkins, which will do Docker build. Okay, and we can push that Docker that image into Docker Hub or like AWS registry. Okay, based on your need. Okay, and you can use that image for your KATs. Okay. So while coming to tools integration, you can use Jenkins for CI pipeline, Docker for containerization, Docker Hub for image registry, Kubernetes for orchestration. Okay, let's discuss about Docker Compose, volumes, and network. Docker Compose. Docker Compose will run multi-container apps. Example WordPress plus MySQL, like that you can implement with the help of Docker Compose. While coming to Docker volumes, it will enable persist your data, your DBs, logs and all. Next is network, Docker network. What it will do, it will isolate apps and it will enable communication. For example, if you are running a Laravel app with Redis plus MySQL, you can compose lets you manage all with one YAML file. Okay, Docker Compose uses YAML file. Okay, why DevOps loves Docker? Any idea? There are some key benefits. Why DevOps loves Docker? While coming to the key benefit, first is portability, which means you can run anywhere. You can run in laptop, cloud, server. Okay. Second one is speed, instant start. Third one is scalability, easy to scale with the tools like Kubernetes. Fourth one is consistency. It works the same on every machine. Third is IAC, infrastructure as code. Everything defined in config, Docker file, and compose. Real world example is traditional shopping. You will load, unload, sort, and custom. While coming to Docker, it is a standardized container, easy automation, speed, and global compatibility. Okay. So, while coming to final takeaway, Docker has changed how software is built, shipped, and deployed. It's not just a dev tool; it's a backbone of modern DevOps. Learn Docker, learn CI/CD, deploy to Kubernetes, equal to full DevOps cycle. If you found this breakdown helpful, let me know in the comments. Subscribe to Cloud Ops Craft. We simplify DevOps, cloud, and core computing concepts every week. Thank you.